Hi friends, I hope you're doing well. Today I came across another most important interview question which was asked during one of the interview like PwC. So question is this: suppose I have a data frame and data frame I have to perform some certain operations like select, then filter, then join, then filter, then group by, then show. So after applying these condition, so I have to give the have to tell the how many stage and how many tasks will be created. So I'm going to tell about how many stage will created first, then I will let you know about task. So first when we are going to work with for stage, so I will let you know each transformation like select, filter, join, group by typically results in a new stage being created during execution. However, the exact number of stages and tasks can dependent on various factors like the nature of the transformation, the data distribution, and the Spark execution plan. So for stage, I'm going to break down the all the things one by one and will let you know the how many stage will create. Suppose I am going for stage and I have breakdown select. So this operation is typically narrow and does not trigger a new stage by itself. When we are working for filter, similar to select, it usually a narrow transformation and won't create a new stage on its own. If I'm going to talk about join, the operation can be either a wide transformation like a shuffle join or narrow transformation like a broadcast join. So I will create a separate video on the narrow transformation like broadcast join in coming days. So a shuffle join will introduce a new stage when we are working with a shuffle join, introduce a new stage. Now I'm moving to the filter. Again, filter same as above usually doesn't create a new stage because it is a narrow transformation. Then I'm going to talk about group by. This is a wide transformation and will likely introduce a new stage due to shuffle the data across the cluster. And last one is so the so is the action will trigger the execution of the transformation. So finally, typically stages and task breakdown, select plus filter, no new stage. These are narrow transformation. Join, like introduce a new stage, depend on the whether it is shuffle or broadcast join. Filter, typically no new stage if it is applied after the join. If it's applied after the join. Group by typically introduce a new stage due to shuffle. So this is the action trigger the competition but doesn't add any new stages. Now I'm going to the example scenario on there. Suppose is one when working with the stage 1 select plus filter, no new stage created. Stage 2 join can introduce a new stage if it's a shuffle join. Group by stage 3 introduce another stage due to shuffling. Thus, in the typical scenario, number of 3 stages or possibly 2 if the join doesn't require a shuffle like broadcast join. Number of tasks per stage depend on the number of partition and the data distribution across the cluster. For example, if the data is divided into the 200 partition, each stage should have a 200 tasks. So that the actual number of tasks and stages would depend on the Spark execution plan for the specific data frame operations and the cluster configuration. So you can examine the stage and task by looking at the Spark UI after running your job. Now I'm going for the task. How many tasks will create with above for the above? So number of tasks created in Spark is primarily determined by the number of partition in your data frame and the nature of the operation you are performing. Here general example guide whatever I'm going to key factor affecting the creation. So number of partition, the primary factor determine the number of tasks is the number of partition in your data frame. Each partition is processed by a single task. So transformation, narrow transformation like select filter. These operations do not change the number of partition and usually don't trigger new task beyond the initial partition. Wide transformation like join and group by. These operations may involve shuffling data across partition and can create a new set of tasks. The number of tasks in a shuffle stage is usually equal to the number of output partition after the shuffle. So cluster configuration, what we are going to do cluster configuration, what is the here? So spark.sql.shuffle.partition, the configuration parameter controls the number of partition after a shuffle operation, which directly impact the number of tasks. By default, it is set to 200 in Spark. So task, let's assume the following example. Initial data frame has a 4 partition and default shuffle partition is set to 200. So given the operation, select no new task, continue with the 4 task, whatever data whatever 4 partition we have data frame has. Filter no new task, continue with 4 task. Join, if this is a shuffle join, Spark will shuffle the data and create a new stage with 200 tasks, assuming default shuffle partition this. So filter no new task will create, continue with the 200 task. Group by, this will like cause another shuffle, creating another stage with a 200 task. So action, this is action trigger execute but doesn't add any new task. So now total task count how many? So stage 1 there is a select plus filter, then 4 tasks assuming initial 4 partition only. Stage 2 join shuffle create 200 tasks. Stage 3 group by shuffle create 200 tasks. So in total you would have 3 stages and 404 tasks. 4 tasks in stage 1, 200 tasks in stage 2 and 200 tasks in stage 3. The exact number of tasks can vary depend on the specific data partition. So partition and Spark configuration in your environment. To get the exact number, you can check the Spark UI after executing the job. Thank you very much for watching my video. I hope you will get the better understanding regarding this question. So I will meet you in another interview question series video. Please like and subscribe my